Well, investments in clean technologies have been growing consistently over the past 10 years, especially in solar, wind power and biofuels. Government programs and subsidies helping drive growth in the sector, the Australian market already valued at over $25 billion. And recently, several Australian clean tech companies participated in a competition in the US, in Silicon Valley. So how did we fare on the global stage? Well, here to tell us more is clean tech advocate Dr. Marc Newson. Dr. Newson, welcome to Tech Report today. Now, take us through this competition first in the US. What was it about?
The competition in the US is really showcasing the best technologies in the world in terms of responding to really delivering on technologies that save natural resources, remove pollution or deliver efficiencies. And
now, how did we fare? Because we had a few entrants in this particular competition as well.
We did. The competition is funded by the federal government via the Supplier Advocate program. We took 6 finalists, actually more. We took 6 finalists plus 3 others, so 9 Australian businesses went to the US. And the winner for Australia was a company called Enlighten, and they ranked 4th overall in terms of the global competition. So a great outcome for Australia and a great opportunity in terms of raising the profile of all 9 businesses globally.
And you discovered Enlighten in a competition here in Australia before they went to the US?
Absolutely. So the competition is a 9-month cycle, again funded by the government. It attracts about 100 entrants every year. Those 100 entrants get whittled down to about 30 semi-finalists, and those 30 semi-finalists get a terrific program of 2 months where they get mentored and coached on business planning and a whole range of different skills that they need to grow their access to market. And then those 30 semi-finalists get judged down to 6 finalists. So again, a terrific example of how to elevate the profile of Australia's innovation in this space.
Now, how does Enlighten work? Because I noticed when they won the competition, they talked about a low-cost LED lighting solution. They promised 93% in terms of savings. Take us through that.
Well, the competition here and the example around Enlighten is not so much about just delivering LED, because LED is not really that new. It's really the innovation that is driving a fundamental change in the product that we interact with. And if you take something like lighting, traditionally our interaction is one of 2 things. We flick a switch to turn it on and off, or we change the bulb when it breaks. What Enlighten are doing is sort of re-engineering the whole product in terms of how we get a better interaction with it. We get greater efficiency. We can get a much longer lifespan out of the entire unit. And that's because the technology around the bulb is enhancing the level of innovation that you can apply to the overall solution.
Now, Dr. Newson, we hear clean tech talked up quite a lot, but we have a clean tech index here in Australia. That's hit some lows recently. It's shed 55% over the past 3 years. If this is the future and this is the way to go, why aren't these stocks performing?
Well, the clean tech market, I often use the analogy of a Sydney Harbour Bridge in the sense that on one end of the bridge you've got about 1,000 technologies and small businesses getting to market, and the other end of the bridge you've got customers and investors. Of those 1,000 innovations and technologies in Australia, 71 are listed. And the numbers that you've just shared with us relate to those 71 listed. So the vast majority of the clean tech market are serial entrepreneurs, emerging businesses that have great ideas. They're moving from early ideas to solutions, so moving from a technology to a solution. And they're also moving from a belief where they think their market's this big, but their market needs to be a lot more niche and focused in that regard. And that is that's a 10 to 12-year journey. So like all listed stocks in Australia, there's a high degree of volatility at the moment, and clean tech listed stocks are no exception.
Now, I'll just draw your attention to a quote from David Brooks in the New York Times recently. His perspective on this is fossil fuel technology has advanced more quickly than renewables technology. Failed companies like Cylindra in the US, it's a story of overreach, misjudgments and disappointment. Is it true to say this sector would not really be around if not for generous government subsidies and support?
Well, this sector has been around for a very long time, and if you look back to the 90s, we had a lot of bolt-on pollution control equipment that was emerging. This is just a natural evolution in terms of how we're thinking about greater efficiencies in these products and in these services. And that won't change. It's principally driven by commercial outcomes, so it's pricing, which is the key variable. And so you will see already a nexus between, let's say, energy being delivered through solar versus energy being delivered through coal-fired power. And that's just a natural progression, and that's how we have to look at it.
But it's probably fair to say that legislation in some countries about 10% of energy for renewables and so forth, that's probably ahead of where the technology is.
Yes, in some cases, and of course there is a very important dynamic between industry development, which is what which my role is about, versus policy development. And clearly you want to encourage the right level of industry development in your own country to deliver a sustainable industry going forward, but you want to do it at the right price with the right level of incentive. And that is always a tricky sort of balance to achieve.
And very quickly, Dr. Newson, where do you see this sector going in the next 3 to 5 years?
There will be continued growth in key sectors around energy generation, so particularly around storage and demand-side management, and this is where a high degree of IT will play in demand-side management and with managing discharge, etc. And there will be continued innovation in a range of water technologies that we see, together with, I think, a lot more application in some of the rural areas, so in agriculture. We'll see a lot of exciting stuff in that space.
All right, Dr. Newson, thanks for coming on today. A very balanced perspective.
Thank you very much, Nigel.
Week's edition of Tech Report. I'm Nigel Freitas. I'll see you again, same time next week.